Coming to you, at least I am coming to you from the DNVR bar on the corner of Colfax and York in the heart of downtown Denver. It's DNVR Bets Daily. It's RK. It's Professor Dre. And Dre, this is a big day. This is the first time that our show is being broadcast live into the DNVR bar. Of course, we opened the doors back today at 4 o'clock, and we've already got a good crowd in here. So shout out to everyone who's out there watching us, and especially shout out to our guy Chris Hill, who came in, loyal commenter who came in to hang out with us and awesome. Have a beer while he watches the show today. So great day here at the bar. Can't wait to have you in here, Dre. And great day for you. Another one. Great day for you at DraftKings Sportsbook.
I mean, the way things are going, you might not see me in the bar for a long time because I am not switching things up if things keep going like this in the KBO. 6-2 in the KBO last 2 days, 3-1 yesterday, 15-8 in my last 5 games picked for the KBO. Beautiful. So feeling good, man.
Sound the alarm. I believe that's a heater alert, Allie. I think we got to call that a heater alert.
Can I get a heater alert?
Can he get a heater alert? I don't know. Can he? Is it? What is it? A heater? Allie's saying it's not a heater. Oh, okay.
All right.
It's a heater. Heater alert. Andre's heating up, killing it on the KBO. Certainly this week.
KBO.
And hey, not a bad day. Not a bad night for your boy either. Little 2-1. Doosan Bears let me down, not covering that 6.5. But there you go. LG Twins. We had them at over 5.5. They just went ahead and put a 15 spot on the board. And NC Dinos money line, they took care of business. They actually covered, but who needs that? With my new strategy, just stack wins. 2-1 nights will get you to a happy place if you keep hitting 2-1 nights.
5-2 on the KBO, pretty good if you ask me.
Yeah, if you're riding with us, you're having a good time this week. I mean, you've yet to really have a bad time. Yeah. Just the times have been great and the times have been okay. Except for the Bundesliga, which is kind of giving us fits.
Yeah, and the Faroe Islands soccer really screwed my record.
We don't talk about the Faroe Islands anymore. It's not even a real place. Is it a real place? We don't really even know.
I don't know. It's like a fever dream remembering that I did a whole segment on the Faroe Island picks for one show.
Speaking of fever dreams, it kind of feels like a fever dream that we are going to get sports back in our lives in the not too distant future. Of course, we talked about it yesterday. The NHL has now put together a plan for return. It's an incredible plan. I'm so excited about it. We talked to AJ about it yesterday. But Dre, today we have lines on these early matchups in the qualifying rounds. So we're going to bring on AJ's other half from the DNVR Avalanche podcast, our guy Rudo. And he's also a KBO guy too. So maybe we can get him on for a little KBO talk too. Let's go ahead and bring on our guy, Rudo. What's up, big guy?
Rudo, how are you?
I'm ready.
Love it.
I've got all the taps behind me here, but Rudo's just got it on deck. He doesn't need to come to the bar. He's always prepared with the Breck Brews at home.
Oh, I'll be down there soon enough. We just have the Avs watches tonight, so I couldn't make it, but
the one thing that you can't get in your fridge is the 22-ounce member beers that you get when you come to DNVR.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Rudo. Well, we're super, super excited about the NHL coming back, at least having a plan for coming back. What are your initial thoughts just on the format here?
Honestly, I love it. I think 24 teams is great. The more hockey, the better at this point. Get as much sport in as you can while you can if you're the NHL. At this point, it's going to be a little bit wild. Things are going to run a little bit long, but I cannot wait to just watch real hockey again. And I'm so stoked that there is actually a plan in place for this league now. Unlike pretty much any of the other leagues, the major professional leagues, hockey has a plan, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it really is awesome. And what's even more awesome is that you can already bet on it at DraftKings Sportsbook. We talked a little with AJ yesterday just about some of the lines that came out in terms of team futures, who's going to win. Obviously, these 12 seeds you can get some crazy value on them. But what are you kind of eyeing here? Whether it's the series lines that we now have or the futures that seem juicy to you?
Well, I'll tell you right now, the Avs are odds boosted up. an extra 100 on the money line to win the cup. They were 900. They're 1,000 right now. So you can get some money there if you want to put a bet on the Avs. They're the fourth best odds in the league right now, honestly.
Wow.
They're not a bad pick. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in a crazy format like this. A team can get hot and go all the way. If you want to take a chance, it's a good time. Tell you, I would not bet on any of the long shots. If I had to pick one, maybe Winnipeg. No chance I'm betting on Montreal. No chance I'm betting on Columbus. Any of those deep teams, I don't love them. Tampa's always safe. Even them, you're getting plus 650 on as the best odds in the league. So maybe play a little bit more conservative with the futures, I would say. But, you can make a ton of money off of those if you hit the right one.
Right, and as we talked about yesterday, there's a lot of different strategies you can employ, whether it's hedging off bets once they advance. If you think some teams are going to advance, you can still get value on them.
Yeah.
And speaking of teams advancing, what are you looking at when you see these first looks from DraftKings Sportsbook at these look-ahead series lines?
The one that jumped out to me immediately was the Winnipeg Jets as dogs to the Calgary Flames a little bit. Minor dogs. They're only plus 116. But with Connor Hellebuck in net, he's established himself as a top 5 goalie in the league this year. And he's just too strong, especially with a Flames team that, to be honest, has not been the same since they lost that series to the Avs last year. Johnny Gaudreau has not been the offensive force that he used to be. Winnipeg's top 6 is very strong, probably not quite Avs caliber, but not too far off of it, that can take it to the Flames and get them leads and let Hellebuck just hold the fort for him. I'm putting money on Winnipeg on that one. I'll tell you that. I don't think the Flames are going to like that matchup.
I like that.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, there might be a strategy in place here where you just go ahead and take whatever team has the better goalie in all of these series and just ride that all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, if you believe in the goalie, do it. But goalies can be voodoo 100% of the time. You get into the playoffs and a goalie cracks, and you never know what can happen there. But when you get a goalie as good as Hellebuck, it's real hard to bet against that.
Absolutely.
Well, one of those series that could stand out where there is a goalie advantage and there could be a bit of an upset in the works, and we talked about this with AJ yesterday, would be Chicago. How are you feeling about that? And the Oilers, I mean, what a unique situation. Just barely missing that 4 seed on the Stars, and now they get this hellish matchup for them.
I mean, I tell you what I do in that matchup. I'd bet the over in every single game. Between McDavid and Draisaitl on Edmonton side, and then you have Kane, DeBrincat, Taves on the Chicago side. Goalies are not going to have a fun time in that series when you're talking about Mike Smith on the Edmonton Oilers side. Yeah, he played very well in the playoffs last year, has a good track record, but we saw him in the Avs series. He has a penchant to where Edmonton's defense is not great, and he'll crack in some of those games. He'll keep some close, but with Corey Crawford on the other side, total wild card, dealt with injuries a lot over the past couple of years. Realistically, probably not the same goaltender that he used to be in the playoffs during Chicago's golden age. So, and I mean, I don't care who you are. You're going to give up some goals to Connor McDavid. That's just the rules.
What do you think of the fact that the Blackhawks are only plus 116 on the money line here? It feels like as a 12 seed, that should be a bit higher.
You would think so. I think that comes down to Edmonton basically being a two-man show offensively. Their defense has been pretty questionable for a long time now. They just haven't been able to figure it out. They haven't managed to clean up and make the right moves there to round out evenly. And then outside of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and I guess Yamamoto playing next to McDavid, their depth scoring is basically non-existent. That's where Chicago can look to take advantage. I think Chicago's a decent bet. This is a pick 'em, and you're getting decent odds on Chicago. There's a reason they're plus 116 because there's very real upset potential there.
Okay, going off the upset potential, that leads me to something Andre brought up yesterday, which I found to be very interesting. Andre was of the belief that some teams might decide to tank the round robin because the seeding isn't all that important. Home ice advantage isn't all that important. And if you're the 4 seed and Chicago upsets Edmonton there, you get them in the second round. You're getting the 12 seed in the second round.
I mean, you're banking on a lot of hope in that one for Chicago to upset Edmonton. You're just as easily, if you tank it out and you end up in the 3 seed or something, you could end up playing Nashville, and that's the team.
Yeah.
If you're in the round robin, that's the team you're looking to avoid is Nashville. I think they're going to be a real threat since they dropped Laviolette as their coach. They've been the team that, not all the way, but a lot closer to the team everyone expected they should be, with Saros and net instead of Rene. That's the scary team to run deep to me out of the play-in rounds.
Even more so than Winnipeg, which is another kind of, landmine for those late teams.
Winnipeg, yes. Winnipeg could run deep as well, but I think they run a little bit shorter when it comes to their depth.
Yeah.
They have the dynamite top 6. Their defense is a huge question mark, and their bottom 6 just hasn't rounded out. Nashville has a top 9 forward group that is just ridiculous. I mean, Kyle Turris is their 3C, and sure, he hasn't lived up to the hype, but when that dude's playing as your 3C, he doesn't need to. And their defense is still just amazing with Yossi Ellis. They're too strong on all ends of the ice. Their only question is in goal, and Saros can get them by with the strength of their skaters.
Yeah.
What you're saying, though, is that you love the plus 3,500 on Nashville.
I don't hate it. If you're picking a deep one, that's a good one to go with.
And yet, I was reading up that the biggest save percentage discrepancy between two teams facing off in this round is in favor of Arizona.
Correct. Arizona has gotten absurd goaltending simply because they have to have it.
Right.
They try to play out a slow, grindy, sludgy game because they score by committee, right? They don't have those high-end scores. You think they would with Taylor Hall and Phil Kessel, but their systems just don't provide that super high-end offensive talent with the opportunities. And that doesn't feel like Hellebuck to me. For Arizona, it feels a little bit like an outlier that could crack, especially against a team like Nashville, where it's just going to be wave after wave, and Arizona's going to fold, I think.
Interesting. And in the East, what series have you intrigued? We're hunting dogs here, Rudy.
I'll tell you, the Pittsburgh series doesn't intrigue me at all. I wouldn't bet on Montreal if you paid me to do it.
Yep.
Kind of the same story with Columbus and Toronto. It's just fate that Toronto has to play Boston in every playoffs in the history of time, apparently. So they're going to get through Columbus and play Boston. And none of the dogs in the East interest me really, man. I like Vancouver over Minnesota pretty easily as well. Minnesota just doesn't have the firepower. Dubnyk isn't the goaltender he used to be. And Vancouver, I think, can run through that series.
On Vancouver, I've got a theory that young legs could really help.
Absolutely.
In this kind of format and everything, right? But it's also, you need young legs and you need just that right amount of playoff experience. So the moment's not too big, but you've also, everything sets up, which is why I really like the Avs. I really like the Maple Leafs, and what AJ was saying yesterday about how not having a crowd, not having all that media on top of them, like it might just free them up a lot. And I kind of like Vancouver sneakily early on. Any other teams where that theory could apply?
I mean, I think Vancouver's a great one. You say with the young legs, you're talking about these vets. You talk to them in the locker room. The guys that are over 30, they say, I don't really get my season going until December when it starts in October. They're coming off what will be a 3-month break, essentially. They'll get some training camp in, but they will not be up to full speed by August when these playing games start happening. So, Vancouver, Besser, Hughes, Pedersen, a lot of young, highly talented legs that they could come in and get off to a hop pretty quickly there. Pittsburgh, certainly on the older side, but when you have Crosby and Malkin, you kind of just say, well, they're pretty good. The interesting one here, and I just cannot bring myself to bet for Florida because Bobrovsky has just not been the player they thought he was going to be in that, and that's hard to bet against. But
he's off the force, you might say.
Yeah, but the Islanders really bad matchup for them as well because they are just offensive firepower all the way. they're going to try and outscore everybody, which maybe things play into well, but with the Isles, they just play that shutdown style. You saw when they played the Avs this year, they won the game 1-0. Avs, one of the highest scoring teams in the league as well. So that just seems like a brick wall for Florida.
Despite being a 10 seed, Florida is a -105 in that. So
very interesting.
Vegas agrees with you, even though you're not convinced.
Our guy Chris Hill from Inside the Bar, Rudo, asks, how much will not having home games at altitude hurt the Avs?
Yeah.
I don't think it hurts them that much. Look, the altitude goes both ways. These guys train the majority of their seasons at altitude, so that means they have more gas if they're playing in Vegas or something like that. Sure, maybe the other team isn't quite as tired, but this team, it can outskate you regardless of the altitude. That they're built that way. So I don't think that's that big of a deal. The biggest thing that hurts, the Avs have one of the best home crowds in the league when it comes to playoffs and when they actually show up, and not against teams like Chicago, unfortunately, but that team feeds off the crowd extremely well. So I think that's a bit of a disappointment for the Avs.
Right. And as AJ chimes in here, Avs second best road team in the NHL. So again, another kind of feather in their cap.
Yeah.
The other thing here, Vote is giving you crap for your green screen. I think Rudo looks like he's the center of a $1 bill right now. Or $100 bill, a Rudo bill.
Perfect.
Rudo bucks.
Yeah, Rudo bucks. What can you buy with Rudo bucks?
Breck Brew, maybe.
More beer.
Yeah.
Keep it clean, Rudo. I will point out, futures for Pittsburgh have gone down. It was a plus 1,900 earlier today, now already plus 1,700. So
yeah, I'm sure
Pittsburgh.
People love to
AJ
bet on
called
Pittsburgh.
that yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
you're betting on Crosby. That's never a bad idea.
Yeah. Look, top 3 player in the league, arguably. So him, McDavid, and McKinnon, honestly, were the 3 that everyone on the Avs beat were like, yeah, those are the best players in the NHL right now. So if you're betting on one of those 3 isn't a bad choice.
Or you can bet on all 3 of them. That's the beauty of all this.
nice.
Not a bad option. I certainly would take Pittsburgh in their first series. And to be honest, there's Nashville is maybe the only team that scares me for the Avs in round 1. Everyone else, it doesn't even matter who they face. I'll take the Avs.
Awesome. Well, you're also you get in on the KBO. You're not shy on the KBO.
Do.
How are you doing on the KBO?
Pretty good. I'm up. I don't know my exact record, but I'm over 500, so I'm at least keeping up with you guys,
Nice.
I think.
There you go. Yeah, we're hanging in tight. I mean, it's a great league. It's a very unpredictable league.
Yes.
Oh man, my plan is all right. Just bet against KT Wiz every game and wait for their bullpen to blow the game, because that's just what happens with that team every single game.
There you go. That's a strategy of the week from Rudo. What about? And then I heard a little rumor that you had a pick of the week ready for us.
I do with the UFC coming up again this weekend. There's another odds boost here. Tyron Woodley to finish was at plus 175. Now it's at plus 195. He was big favorite on the money line, but he's finished 12 of his 17 wins, I believe, in his career. So you're getting pretty good odds to make some good money there. And I'm taking him to finish before the decision.
The odds boosts are like almost too. Like I got one about NASCAR today, and I'm like, do I need to take the? Do I have to get in on this?
Some of them are insane. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like boosting like these guys to finish in the top 3. It was boosting them from like plus 130 to plus 500. I'm like, this is working on me. I feel like I have to do some research and bet on this NASCAR race. Anyway, Rudo, we really appreciate you for joining us and for all of your great insights. And we'll have to have you on more, because we know that you're not afraid of a little action.
Yeah, as long as I keep winning.
Exactly. All right, man. Have a great night, and thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, that is Rudo. We appreciate him for coming on with us. Oh, he's back. He's gone. He's here. All right. Shout out to Rudo for coming on.
Yeah.
Dre,
Dude,
Mr. Heater.
I guess so.
Well, I guess first of all, there it is. Heater alert. First of all, your quick talk, your quick takeaways from what we learned from Rudo.
He kind of poured some cold water on me. On NHL playoffs, I'm ready to take all these dogs and but we're on the same wavelength with Florida being intriguing, that Pittsburgh futures being intriguing, Toronto, Colorado, Vancouver, the young legs fitting in. I really like that. I like that, with the advantage Winnipeg's going to have in goal they're intriguing. And, even though the stats would say, well, Arizona on paper looks like a nice little upset pick, I'm kind of with Rudo that Nashville, as tempting as Arizona might be when you look at the numbers, because they're better in goal differential, and they've also got the better goalie statistically speaking. Just like me, pump the brakes on Arizona and any silly money. And I like Chicago, man. I think you got to hit Chicago like right now. I think you got to get those Pittsburgh futures now. I think you got to get the Avs futures now. Like, it's time to move, because these odds are changing already.
I know, we talked about it before. You need the futures budget, and you need the
Yes.
KBO / UFC / whatever else budget, because I'm starting to learn the value. The earlier you have a pick, usually the better value you get, especially if you're really confident. I haven't recently looked at the Drew Lock passing yards or any of those things, but I just think the longer you wait on these things, the higher they go. So a lot of opportunity here on the NHL, and we've had two true experts on the last couple days. So really appreciate them for all of their insights. Okay, now it's time for Mr. Heater to unveil his KBO picks for this evening.
As I studied up on today's matchups, it really feels like an overnight. It feels like a lot of bad pitchers, and it feels like a lot of pitchers kind of being thrust in because depth is hurting. They're just trying to switch it up. It's a lot of guys who haven't pitched in games since 2017, and back then had like ERAs of 37 or more. Or we've got one guy who, has been a reliever his whole career, and he's starting for the Wyverns today. And then there's this Tigers KT Wiz. I know Rudo said hit KT Wiz. That might be a good call. Twins Eagles. I'm so tempted to go under on them, but I'm not pulling the trigger. I'm staying to Wyverns Bears. Give me the over. Lions Giants over. Heroes Dinos. Dinos have been scoring so much. You just need to take the over on them every night. I'm so confident in the Bears against the terrible Wyverns. I'm also taking them -1.5.
Okay, all right. You're giving up the numbers there. So can you tell me why the Twins and Eagles is set at 7.5?
The Eagles just do not score, and the pitcher they've got coming on the mound is their one good pitcher. He's 2-1 on the year, and he's rocking a 2.25 ERA. So that's the thing. The Eagles don't score enough, and they have a good pitcher. And I know it's tempting to take just the under on the Eagles. That's set at 3.5, though, Ryan. I was looking at this. It'd be tempting to take the over on just the Twins. But again, is this the Eagles' one good pitcher, and you want to kind of wait on that? So, yeah, it's a tricky one. I've been back and forth. That's why I'm staying away there. But you're tempted. I can see.
Yeah, I'm tempted, and I'm going to go ahead and just hit the over in this one.
Okay.
It's another one where they're daring me to do it. They're literally saying, here you go, 7.5, take it. And I'm going to say, you know what, I will, because I think that someone's bullpen is going to blow this game. And I would just take the Twins straight up, but sometimes when you get kind of dazzled by a pitcher, it just throws you off. But I want both sides here. I think someone's bullpen is going to implode. I feel like that's always a fair bet to take in the KBO. So I'm taking the over 7.5. They want me to do it, and I will fall into their trap. I'm going to go back to the well here on NC Dino's money line. It's just inside of what we've deemed as a fair money line bet. So it's -195. You're giving up value, but it's inside our rules. So I'm taking it.
I like it. The Heroes are starting a pitcher who I think they've called up from whatever their minor leagues are. So there are no stats for him. So I like that. I'll give it to you.
They called him up from North Korea or something.
Yes. God only knows. North Korea, probably not. And I don't think there's any call-ups from anywhere but Korea right now with travel restrictions. So.
That is true. My bad.
Worth mentioning, Twins Heroes last night was a 15-4 game. So while I'm skeptical today, just yesterday they accounted for 19 runs. So you're over 7.5 looks, pretty smart.
I think that either the Twins stay hot or someone's bullpen and blow.
Right.
I want it. And then the last one here, I'm going to take the Rudo special here. Bet against KT Wiz. So -150, Kia Tigers straight up. Those are my 3 picks for the night. I haven't watched a KBO game in a while. It's really killing me.
The 11 games come on very rarely, and often there's something going on, or I'm trying to go to bed early, so I remember to wake up for the Bundesliga or something like that. It's been a wild ride adjusting the old schedule to all these new events in our lives.
I just miss watching these games. They're so entertaining.
Chris Hill telling us Dinos was -200 when he got it. It's since gone down. So
all right, well, little value gain there, and it allows me to get in on it and throw it at the record. So, all right, those are our picks for tonight.
Beautiful.
That's the show for today. Shout out to everyone out there in the bar watching the show, and of course everyone at home as well. We appreciate you all, and we will talk to you tomorrow. That's it for us on DNVR Bets Daily. As you guys know, we're working with DraftKings Sportsbook, so make sure you download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use the code DNVR when you sign up. For a limited time, all new users can get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. The deposit bonus requires a 25x playthrough and restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And of course, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.